YouTube, it's Jen.
And Brad.
And we are doing a video response that was lap band LaraEve started doing a video response about what is restriction and all different like lap band 101 things. And then Eve Nut 6 did a video response, so we're going to do a video response. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay, I'm sorry, I can't get comfortable. I'm like all squirmy tonight. Okay, first question is what does restriction mean to you? So, because everybody's different, I'll go in your way. Okay, for me, restriction means a tightness to the band that makes food pass through more slowly because the band is tighter, and so it sits up top longer before it passes through. So that is what I think it is. What do you think it is?
Similar thing. Restriction to me means the amount of time and effort it takes for when I eat or drink something to pass through the band, and it's associated with the amount of time that it takes for me to feel full or satisfied, and what could or couldn't happen depending upon how fast or slow I eat. So it kind of sort of the accelerator on how quickly I can eat and how much I can eat. So it's not necessarily, oh, I've just got to fill, so I feel something tighter inside me. You're not going to feel it, it's something inside you, but it's more the associated behaviors and things that happen with getting a fill or an unfill, I think. So that's, to me, restriction.
Okay, the next one is what is it like to get stuck? And everybody says, oh, I'm going to be so careful, I'm not going to get stuck. You're going to get stuck. For me, the first time I got stuck, I remember, even though I knew that it was going to happen, I didn't know what it was going to feel like, and so I kind of panicked because it's like a pressure in your chest, but it's also, I don't know how to explain it, you kind of, for me, I panicked. And so it was almost like it was hard to breathe because I was panicking because I'm like, what is going on here? What, something doesn't feel right. And people who say, I'm not sure if I got stuck, then you didn't get stuck. Because if you get stuck, in my opinion, you'll know if you get stuck. So it's like a pressure. It varies from a pressure to the heart attack feeling. But it's just something you'll know. It's between your breasts. But it's just a real pain, and it's just the food that won't pass through. And fortunately, some people get stuck and can be stuck for like 30 minutes. Luckily for me, my band does not tolerate being stuck, and I get about a 5-minute window that if it doesn't pass in 5 minutes, it's coming up. So I'm happy with that because I don't want to be in pain for 30 minutes. 5 minutes, I'm like a very low threshold for pain, so the 5 minutes stuck is a good thing for me.
So for me, stuck is, similar things. If I'm truly stuck right then and there, it's a pressure and then associated pain that goes with it because something is stuck in the band and your body is starting to have that reaction. And there's kind of like a spectrum. There's been where I'm like immediately stuck and I start sliming or I PB immediately. And then there's stuck where it's almost like a mild indigestion feeling. You know something doesn't feel right with you, but you're not exactly sure. Your body's not, you're not necessarily sliming or PBing, but you just feel this discomfort because it's taking time for it to pass. And sometimes, for me, that has to do with just a level of restriction on that. But stuck is generally your body's way of saying, hey, something's not quite right going on in here. And you can't always tell when it's going to happen. Sometimes it's you're eating along just fine, you're minding all the rules, and this is that last bite where either you ignored a soft stop or just, something's going on with it. I remember the first time I ever got stuck, I ate very early in the morning. My band and I have determined I'm not a morning eater now. I need to be up for a little while, and by a little while I mean for me in some cases 2-3 hours before my band is going to tolerate food or even liquids going through it. So I ate very early in the morning, and on the very first bite, I got stuck immediately, and that was my first PB also. So it's very unpleasant. So for me, that's kind of getting stuck.
Well, you've also keep mentioning sliming and PBing.
Okay, so
sliming
why don't
and
you do
sliming and PBing?
Sure, so the next two questions are what are sliming, what are PBing to you? So sliming it's basically your body's, I don't want to say defense mechanism, but it is your body's way of saying, hey, something's not right here. The food either needs to go down or needs to come up. And so sliming is your stomach is producing mucus, basically. So it really is that. It's slime. It's this thick, mucusy liquid. So it's kind of disgusting when it comes out, because you're like, oh, it's, if you've ever seen Ghostbusters, it's Slimer. That's what it is.
What it is.
And it's bizarre. And for me, it's associated with, before I ever got a lap band, when I started to feel nauseous, my mouth would get very watery, and a lot of liquid. Same exact thing happens to me. My body's like, okay, I'm preparing you. It's either going down or it's coming up. You better figure it out, buddy, because you're on a deadline. So that's sliming. It's immediately my mouth starts watering, and I'm swallowing a lot because I feel this discomfort and this pressure and this pain in my chest because I know something's stuck with my band. And so you're not swallowing the slime, it's coming up actually from your stomach. And that's why sliming, although some people are like, oh yeah, I slime all the time, sliming's not good for you because it is your stomach producing mucus and it's coming up. So it's causing an irritation at the side of your band, and it's your body's defense mechanism really trying to say, I need either to pass this down or pass this up. And so when you then PB, which stands for productive burping, productive belching, it is in essence sort of like a mini throw up. It's from the band up. And so it's usually the slime comes out.
That's why I call it a puking burp.
Yes. So it's the slime coming out and whatever it generally was causing the irritation. So some people associated with it like, oh, it's like I'm going to be doing the Heimlich. That one little piece of meat comes out and that's it. It's not. It's all the slime. So that's why the longer you slime, the longer you're stuck, the more of this nasty, weird liquid comes out of it. So the PBing is your band's way of kind of clearing whatever was causing the issue. That's where you need to be careful, because you're in that odd middle ground of, I didn't really throw up, per se, where, pre-band, when you throw up, you're like hugging that boy, and it's disgusting.
Really?
PBing,
Is that how you did it?
That's dramatic reinterpretation of it. So PBing, it's very much like one quick movement, and whatever's from here up just kind of clears out in one quick move. But then you have to be careful because people have gag reflexes, and there's lots of people who, they hear the sound of something throwing up or they see something, and they will immediately then throw up. And that's where it's coming from below your band, out of your stomach. And that's where you're in danger, because you don't want to stretch or pull or slip your band. So that's where you need to be very careful, and that's where I go into like my Zen breathing moments and stuff, where I'm like, okay, I PB'd, it's alright, just breathe deeply, relax, don't bring anything else up. Your band will let you know if you're okay. I've had 1 or 2 incidents since I got banded in December of last year, 2012, where I PB'd, and my band's like, okay, something's not right here, and I actually then threw up. So my doctor said if you actually can throw up, that means your band isn't tight enough, because it's a violent act to get it from down here up through the little band and out, but that's also when you're in the most danger for slipping your band. So that's kind of the combination sliming, PBing. Your turn.
Well, you have exactly right on same definition I was going to use for sliming of the Ghostbuster slime and the PBing. And we talked to our doctor about this, because I was like, oh, but I just PB'd, I don't throw up. And she's like, if you're sliming, it's equally as bad as PBing, as throwing up. It's all contracting of the stomach, and there's risk for the band to slip. So not good. None of it good. But it does happen. And so it's not like she's expecting you never to have it happen, but it should be more of a rare occurrence than a frequent occurrence. And yes, sliming. The first time I did it, if you look through our videos, and it said, one of the titles is "What Just Happened to Me?" Because the first time I PB'd, I didn't think it was PB, because I went to throw up and I just had a handful of slime and I didn't understand. So.
Oh yeah, don't catch it. It's disgusting.
And the other thing is sometimes you're gonna be stuck, but you've eaten maybe 4 or 5 bites before the thing that's gonna get stuck gets stuck. Mm-hmm. So sometimes when you PB, it's not just the thing that's stuck, but it's all the food you ate after whatever got stuck. So you can have a handful of food come out encased in slime. So, it's, people are like, oh, I don't ever want to PB. In the moment when you're stuck,
It's
PB
almost an
is,
immediate relief after
and
it happens.
yes, it's completely relief. I mean, it's not good for you, but getting stuck
Yeah.
isn't good for you. So if you're going to be stuck and it's not going to go through, the PB is not the.
It's not the end of the universe.
Yeah. It's not what you want to do,
Right.
but it's going to give you immediate relief.
But the thing to remember is if you do PB, that was an irritation. So slow down, because what you don't want to do immediately afterwards is cause yourself to get sick again. You want to give your band and your stomach a chance to basically relieve the irritation, to relax. So I'm not saying, oh, don't eat food for the next week. No, maybe just
Liquids for a little
some
while.
liquids for a couple hours, or some
Something
mushies for the rest
hot.
of the day.
Hot liquids.
Warm liquids have a tendency to help the band relax a little bit and ease. So just take it easy for maybe a few hours the rest of the day, but then go back to your normal routine. The last thing you want to do is be afraid of food and only eat mushies and stuff, because that's not good for you either.
Okay. And then the last question, and I hope we have enough time,
Mm-hmm.
is what did you think the lap band was going to be like, and what is it actually like? And I watch so many videos of brand new people who are thinking about getting the lap band, and the one thing they say is, I want the lap band because it's going to give me portion control. It's going to make me eat smaller amounts of food. Because we all think, oh, you get the lap band and you can only eat this much food, and when you fill that up, you're going to feel so stuffed. That does not happen.
For some people it might happen.
Well, but if you're one of those people that wants to, that your trigger foods are like ice cream and cake and cookies and chips, that stuff, the band will let that go right through. You're not going to feel like, oh my God, I'm so full, I'm so stuffed. If you're, like my trigger foods were bread, pasta, and rice. If those are your triggers, lap band could be very helpful, because eventually your band will not tolerate those things. So I can't eat bread. So it doesn't matter how much bread I want. 3 bites in, it ain't gonna work. So, so that's the one thing. The lap band is not going to stop you from eating. The other, and that goes hand in hand with, pre-band. I ate because I was hungry all the time, and I wanted this. I always wanted to feel full, in the sense of stuffed till I couldn't get another bite in. And post-lap band, I've never once felt that kind of full. I've never feel uncomfortable, because I know that if I eat 1 cup of food, you can't possibly, I don't feel stuffed from that, but I don't feel hungry, and that's the difference, is that the band is going to help you not to feel hungry. So the way I look at the band now is, pre-band, dieting was about, I love food and I was hungry all the time. I still love food, but at least now I know I can eat less food and not be starving. So you still use willpower to push the food away, but it's not pushing the food away while you're starving hungry, because that is nearly impossible. And I'm sorry, I went really